Hello everyone, how are you all doing? I hope you all are doing good. In today's video, we are going to continue a new topic from chapter Useful and Harmful Microbes. So, what are the useful microorganisms we are going to study here, which are used in the production of antibiotics? Okay, what do we understand by antibiotics? See, anti means opposite and biotic means life. So a substance which kills other microorganism is called as an antibiotic. Followed? Now whatever carbon compounds obtained from some bacteria and some fungi are used for destroying or preventing the growth of harmful microorganisms, they are called as antibiotics. Okay, now a discovery of the 20th century have brought about a revolution in the field of medicine, because now without antibiotics so many diseases cannot be treated. Even a disease like tuberculosis has been almost completely eradicated from some countries because of the use of antibiotics. Now, these antibiotics mainly act against bacteria, and some antibiotics can even destroy protozoa. Followed? Also, some antibiotics are useful against a wide variety of bacteria. That is why they are called as broad spectrum antibiotics. For example, ampicillin, tetracycline. They are they are broad spectrum because they can kill so many different bacteria. Right? Now, when the pathogen cannot be identified, pathogen means disease causing microorganism. Okay, when it cannot be identified, even though the symptoms or disease are visible, broad spectrum antibiotics will be used. And whenever a pathogenic microorganism is definitely known, then you are going to use specific antibiotic. For that matter, you are going to use narrow spectrum antibiotic. For example, penicillin, gentamicin, erythromycin, etc. Followed? Now penicillin, it is a group of antibiotics which is obtained from a fungus Penicillium and is used for controlling the infections which are caused by bacteria like Staphylococci, Clostridia, which usually causes food poisoning, Streptococci, etc. Also, medicines containing penicillin are used to treat certain bacterial infections of the ear, nose, throat, and skin, as well as diseases like pneumonia and scarlet fever. So, penicillin has got a wide range of use. That is why it's used as a broad spectrum antibiotic. Okay. Now, what caution we need to take while we are taking antibiotics? Antibiotics should be only taken when it is prescribed by a doctor. Do not purchase any antibiotic from any medical store without a prescription. Also, do not consume antibiotics on your own to treat common diseases like a throat infection, common cold, or influenza. We have a habit of taking any medicine, right? Last time I got proper with taking a particular medicine, so now also I can take. Please do not do that. Even if you feel well before completing of the prescribed course of the antibiotic, you must continue and complete it. Correct? Suppose the doctor has prescribed you a course for 5 days and you start feeling good, even you have completed just 3 days of the course. You should complete 5 days of the course properly. Also, please do not suggest your antibiotics or your prescription to someone else. Okay, so these are the precautions you need to take. Now, this particular part, introduction to the scientists, you please go through it. How as Alexander Fleming, how he got to discover this fungus, that penicillium can grow and it can form penicillium. Okay, penicillin antibiotic. Right. So the first antibiotic, that is penicillin, it has been discovered accidentally, right? And this has formed the basis for attempts to find cures for even incurable diseases. So you have to go through it properly. Moving on to harmful microorganisms. Few harmful microorganisms like fungi, Clostridium, and there are more other harmful microorganisms which we will be having a look at. So first, fungi. Microscopic spores of fungi are present in the air. If there is sufficient moisture, spores will germinate on cotton fabric, gunny bags, leather, wooden items, etc. And the fungal hyphae penetrate deep into the material to obtain nutrition and to reproduce. This causes the materials to wear and become weak, because now it is deriving the nutrition from the article only, right? So it will cause the article to go weak. Now as a result, the leather items and the bags on which the fungi have grown, they will not last for long. Wooden items will also get spoilt because of that, right? Now certain species of fungi even grow on food items like pickles, murabba, jams, sauces and chutneys. Now what they do is they will use the nutrients in these food items for their growth and their reproduction. Now during this activity, fungi will also release mycotoxins. See, anywhere if you hear this word myco, means related to fungi. Okay, mycotoxins means toxins which are being released by the fungi, right? Also certain poisonous chemicals into the food, and thus food will become poisonous. Now hence the food on which fungi have grown cannot be eaten. Followed? Then another organism is Clostridium. Now this is a bacteria. Sometimes cases of food poisoning occur if you are eating in community feasts or anywhere at public places, wherever. So what happens is Clostridium. Now out of the 100 different species of this bacterium, that is Clostridium, few are living freely in the soil, some live in the alimentary canal of humans and other animals. Now these bacteria, the Clostridium bacteria, they are rod shaped and produce bottle shaped endospores. Endospores means, see, the bacteria will cover itself in a protective layer, right, which is called as endospore. In adverse conditions like it is not getting food, it is not getting proper amount of nutrition, so in that case the bacteria will cover itself with the cover that is called as endospore. Okay, one special characteristic of these bacteria is that they cannot withstand the normal oxygen level of the air because they grow in anaerobic condition. Now let's move to other harmful microorganisms. Now Clostridium and fungi is not the only organism which causes illness. Other kinds of microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, protozoa and fungi, they are also responsible for different diseases that affect humans. Now you have learnt about viruses, right, which are smaller than bacteria and can grow and reproduce only in living cells. Now let us see how they are harmful to us. They can cause different diseases like AIDS. What is AIDS? Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So now how can this virus be transmitted? It can be transmitted through blood or semen of the infected person and milk of the mother who is already suffering from AIDS. So how can you prevent such virus to be transmitted? Safe sexual contact. You should avoid reusing the injections and needles. Okay, so every time you have to make sure that even your doctor or nurse uses a new injection or needle. Then hepatitis virus. This also gets transmitted through contaminated water and food. So what is the preventive measure? That you should drink clean and filtered water, and you should store your food properly. Then influenza. So the pathogen is virus again here. So how is the mode of transmission here? It can be transmitted with the contact with infected person. So what should you do is maintain personal hygiene and avoid any contact with the infected person. Followed, same will be the mode of infection for measles and chickenpox. So preventive measure for this can be vaccination and properly stored water and clean food. Followed, students. So these are some virus related diseases. Then bird flu, swine flu, they are also caused because of infected birds and animals. So you should make sure that you maintain personal hygiene, and in case you eat meat, you should properly cook the meat and then only eat. Okay. Then pneumonia, leprosy, cholera, they are also caused by bacteria. So they are bacterial diseases. The mode of infection will be contact with infected person and contaminated food and water for cholera. Okay. So how can you prevent these diseases? So you should avoid contact with the infected person. For pneumonia, you can go for vaccination, and cholera can be prevented by clean food and water. Drink clean water and eat clean food, properly cooked food. Okay. Again here, dengue, that is also caused by a pathogen which is virus. So the mode of infection is mosquito bite here. What can you do is to prevent this disease? Cleanliness should be maintained. You should not allow the water to become stagnant. Then malaria, again protozoa is the pathogen. Okay. Plasmodium vivax is the name of the protozoa which causes malaria. So the mode of infection again here is mosquito bite and unclean surroundings. So preventive measures will be cleanliness of surroundings, preventing stagnation of water, and controlling mosquitoes. Right? Then again dandruff, ringworm, scabies, they are caused by fungi. So the mode of infection is contact with infected person or his or her belongings. So if you have dandruff, you should make sure that you do not share your clothes with others, or for that matter even your comb, even your pillow or towels, right? So what are the preventive measures? Maintain personal hygiene and avoid contact with any infected person. Followed, students? Now again here, introduction to scientists. Please go through this slide. Thank you so much, student, for watching the video.